on, everybody. It's that Tyll.
Hey,
Yeah. Good timing on that. So, where do I begin? This guy yesterday was incredible. And how do I not live in an 11-room Harlem beautiful? Look, there's too much to tell in 5 minutes. The guy's home was built in 1900 by the Astor family, Astor, one of the biggest families
wow.
ever. Yeah, unbelievable. And he says to me, I asked to use the bathroom. And he said, "Oh, it's down the hall over there." He goes, "There's a lot of rooms in this place." He says, I think it's 11." And I was I was losing my mind. Everything that happened, the front door looked like the door. I don't know. The door was huge. It was an ordinary size elevator, again built in 1900. Ordinary elevator. But the front door to his and all of the apartments were on a circle at the time when you're on the floor. They fan out around you.
Wow.
You get off the elevator, it's a
Nice.
circle, and everywhere on the clock there's an apartment at 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock. It's great. And the the up and down staircase in the old days was not hidden in the wall like it is today. Go to a new building, you see a thing of stairs. And it's a cylinder. It's garbage, concrete. In these days, the staircase came right with the floor's landing that you were on. Many people would walk away from the elevator and walk down nice stairs, marble, tiled. Forget about it. The ceilings were 18 foot. It was incredible. You walk inside, you're like, oh.
Oh my gosh.
Ceilings had inlays in them. When you get to where the chandelier is over the dining room, there's a beautiful tile inlay in
Wow.
the ceiling, out of which the chain for the chandelier.
Wow.
Now,
And
I'm going
you can tell those are old school because these days they'd be like 18-foot ceiling. Screw it, we'll do 9 foot and double the amount of, So wow, that'd
That's-
be a treat to have such high.
That's what he
ceilings like
said.
that.
Unbelievably, what you said, he said, that's what's happening when these newbies in the building buy their apartment outright. The first thing they do is drop ceilings. And the second thing, this is a heartbreak what people do to these apartments, but his is in the original condition. Original. Because he has fought all attempts to change anything in there over the years. It's beautiful. But here's the trick, right? This is, to me, what makes a difference about a person, all right? John Lennon, all my heroes. By the way, this guy interviewed John Lennon on his show. John Lennon visited Alex Bennett. John Lennon was a listener of Alex Bennett, the same way that, like, Liberty DeVito listened to us. It's the same thing. You got this major rock and roll, incredible dude listening to you. So John Lennon popped into his studio. The guy's got incredible stories about that. But back to the apartment, right? So everybody on the floor, it's very controversial about changing. His has stayed this way. But he does it without any pretense. It doesn't look showy because it's not showy. This apartment is not flashy. There's nothing glimmering or shimmering. Do you follow what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very sedate, very cerebral, but it's so big that you can think, you can feel the air move from one side of the room to the. Tell me if this isn't great. I walk in, and he's got all the windows open halfway, and I feel like, oh my God, I'm back in Tina Till's apartment in the 1950s. My mother did this. Everybody in my family did this. Windows half open. That means that you're deliberately venting, getting the breeze. You've made this decision how to do the windows, and it's great. The house, it just feels so much different. So I walk in, I'm looking at these windows, and he says to me, oh, he says, by the way, it looks like we might have rain. If you hear it hit the window, let me know. Because there's so many windows, he might not be standing close enough. When the rain comes, it comes quickly. So he would, like we always did. I think I've told you the story. He's listening for the rain to hit his window, right? That's his cue. He hears one little pitter patter. You shut all the windows, right? Okay. What did Ed Tyll and our family have in my neighborhood? Do you remember that? I've told the story on the air 100 times. What happened in my neighborhood? The women had their clothes out on the clothesline, drying their clothes. So if a little bit of rain came, do you remember what happened in my neighborhood?
I would take it someone would give a verbal heads up.
Pretty good, right.
Clothes in.
My best friend's father, in other words, my best friend, kid lived next door. I played with him every day, Buddy Toohey. Buddy's dad would go to the porch, whip open the window, and in his loudest bellowing voice, you could hear this guy for blocks. He would say, "It's raining." I swear to you, these women would run to the windows. It was like watching a movie. Every window open. Then the lines come in. And the clothes come in. And guess what you would hear Tina Tyll say and other women? Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. Because Paul saved the freaking day. Right. Paul was, my friend Buddy's father was he was like a mini superhero. Did a lot of stuff. Like big, tall, strapping guy, handsome guy, blue eyes. He could lift anything, open any. He was a big moment guy in the moment. And the raining thing was great. Love that. So what he's got, Alex Jones and his beautiful apartment, 11 windows. So he needs a mechanism too. He hears one drop of water hit a window. They all go down. That's how you do. I mean, there was no air conditioning in 1900. You still had a nice life. Oh, yeah. So, oh, man, I'm probably burning out your time to be on here, but I have to tell you about this guy. He's done everything. So I'll skip right to something that you will recognize. How long have you been around this show? So you'll recognize this. He says to me, this is my website, this is my TV show, this is my radio thing, this is for the news. He was explaining all the basic rig, the equipment. Then he says to me, what I load over here, here's what he does. He talks for 2 hours, and he posts for an hour. That's what that keeps all of his stuff going. He does 2 hours on the air. He spends an hour shoving it all over the internet. He's got his drill. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's good. That's
what a work ethic for an 80-year-old man.
Yeah, and remarkably, he gets it. In other words, to get that all done correctly, I can't post up in 1 hour after 2 hours. First of all, I can't do 2 hours of show. I tell him that the other day, we were laughing. I'm a big mouth. I still like to run my mouth. I still like to do 5 hours if I can. Whatever we got booked, whatever's going on. To me, I like to do a lot. He, to get 2 hours of him and to get it out there in an hour, I think is brilliant. Nothing short of brilliant. I think if I had to shut my mouth in 2 hours automatically and then post it, it'd take me 9 hours to post. I don't even like posting. You know what happens to me when I post? I read other people's posts. I get all pissed off. And then I'm like, well, I'm not even putting my stuff up. Or forget about my stuff. I'm just going to tell this guy, whatever. And the whole mission gets sidetracked with me. I'm not. He's the op. He's so good. You know what he was like? He was like a professor, PhD of talk radio. It was like. Oh, I know. I said to you, it was like visiting with Grasshopper. I thought, yeah. Alex. I almost said bite my lip. Alex Bennett. Whatever I can learn, and he came right out with it. Big lessons. He's a genius, this guy. He's been on the air decades. He's a real genius. He cut right to the core. You always want to ask older people, I do, meaning of life and, how to get through tough times. What is the mean? What are we doing here? The whole thing. What does it mean to them? And what do you do in tough times? And he was brilliant, He says... well, let's face it, Ed. He said, oh, boy. That's oh man, is this gonna hurt? We're let's facing it. That's the moment. And he says, he looks me right in the eye, and he's a very gentle fellow for a tall, lanky man. You know what I mean? He could have been an NBA guy the way he's built, right? So he's very gentle for his size and his fitness, which was another outstanding thing. How fit the guy is, cranking along. So he's trying to go, let's face it, and I go, oh, God, what's about to happen? And he goes, there's a lot of pain. And I went, oh, he's,
I can
right.
vouch for that.
Right. I almost jumped. I almost made a joke, but I said, you don't know him well enough to make these jokes. A couple of more visits, you'd be able to make jokes like this. Like, don't leave these windows open when you shock me like that. I'll go right out. Don't leave it open. Lock that window. So yes, he looked at me. He told me there's lots of pain, and he said, but the joy, man, this internet is going crazy. Am I getting warbly to you?
No.
Not at all. This internet is going insane. You know what? We're gonna have to change the internet. We're going to have this, not to bore you and the audience with everything else here, but we're going to go to the fiber optic. I hate to do this because I don't like to undo infrastructure. I like to maintain infrastructure. I'm not into replacement of infrastructure. But it's crazy. We get whacked all the time. So I don't know if there was any warbling on any of our stations. It looks like it's over, but it did go crazy there for about 30 seconds. So anyway, now I forget. What great thing was I telling you? He looks me in the eye.
Talking about pearls of wisdom.
Yeah, right. Looks me in the eye. Right. So he tells me there's a lot of pain. But then he says, but guys like you and me, he said, there's nothing like it. He goes, we have to do it. He goes, when I was in San Francisco, he goes, it was incredible being able to get up every morning, talk to these people, see these people, and they were so appreciative. I said, this is the same thing. When I was in Orlando, it was crazy how often people would, thanks, man, great show, whoa, Ed. Like you just, honk, honk on a thing. This is magical. Who gets that, in general, in life, where you get any kind of a public appreciation and you're actually, helping them in the way that company, you're giving them company, an extra human that they can hang out around, look forward to, makes jokes, knows them, gets to know them over time, so it can make, time reference jokes, something we used to joke about a year ago. You bring it back, you could joke about it one more time. This is very, important to people once it locks in. Am I right?
Sure.
Well, he was on my hero, and I had to tell him the story because Walter Sabo has an Alex Bennett story. A lot of people in radio, Art Volo. I put out the signal last night. I flew up the bat signal to Art Volo. I flashed the Art Volo insignia up on the moon, and sure enough, he texted me like Batman. He came right to the Alex Bennett. I have videotape of Alex Bennett. I knew he would because this guy's one of the great radio hosts ever, all time. So there he is telling me that we know it's painful. We know there's only a few people like us, but let's be honest. No matter what, we would do it anyway. No matter what. It's just like any musician who is minimally famous telling you about coming up with somebody who's huge famous. You ever listen to a story like that where they're minimally, you guys had one song, didn't you? Like 11 years ago, but they're still very, and then there's the REO Speedwagon that they came up with that went out of control. So the most interesting stories, I think, are the people who witness it, then have some of it. You go into your orbit, but then you have the contrast. This is the great, this is what the Greek plays were written about, the great struggle, the apex, the nadir, the zenith, the ups, the downs. Oh my God, it was so healthy. Maybe the healthiest mental health day I've spent. You couldn't. I said to him, I always make this joke when I have a great connection with somebody, a meeting for the first time. I go, should I drop you a check for the therapy? I mean, I don't mind. Just tell me what would you charge me for just hanging out with me like that? Because it's like a therapy check.
Sure.
Yeah. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. I had a good time with this guy. So I'm going to try something now based on his idea. He brought this up, and then Bob Williams, my God, how many years ago was Bob Williams the morning man on Starcom? Couple now. But Bob Williams used to do this all the time. I liked it because obviously, oh my God, is that really what happened there? We have quite a video challenge today on what's level and what's lit well. So is it really like that? Okay. So what did he invent? Well, what Alex Jones does, and I keep giving him plugs. I want people to listen to him and find him online. He's great listening. Gabnet.net. You go there, and it's a Skype broadcast with the video visible to you at home to watch online. So you would see Alex in one box, and then as many people as want to call in, just call in and you're in. You Skype in, and now he's got 7 people on there. You Skype in, now he's got 8 people on there. Another person Skypes, it keeps going. I think the limit is a 50 or something. There's some huge high limit, but to get 7, 8, 9, 10. So you might remember Bob Williams used to have those group panels. Do you remember this?
Right.
Well,
Sure.
That's it. What I used to see when I was on the panel, and I said this to Alex. By the way, do you have to go? It's going on and on here.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's finish it later. I'll tell you more about it later. But the idea is people Skype in, and then they're on the show, and he knows by looking at the screen that they're in there. So the person who's Skyping in knows they'll be recognized. You don't have to say, hello, hi, you're on the air, blah, blah, blah. Once your Skype connection is on, you know the host is looking at you. You get it?
Right.
All right, let me let you go. You got stuff going on. All right, I'm going to let you go. Answer your phone. All right.
Think for yourself and question authority.
We're American and damn proud of it.
Button your lips, no talking.
Get out. It's time.
No talking.
Get out.
No talking.
It's time.
Question authority.
Come on, everybody.
Dave, we're gonna try and say his name.
Come on, everybody.
Did he say a letter in his name?
Come on, everybody. Until.
Question authority.